Get your tickets at luxuriousmarblecircus.com today.
On 947, this is EWN.
Good evening. Munki Ziko advocate Terry Mudau has stepped down as chief evidence leader in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. He is being replaced by Matthew Chakalson, who takes over the role in the commission, investigating allegations of corruption and maladministration within the police. The commission says Mudau has left the commission on good terms. President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended his condolences to the ambassador of France, Nathi Mthethwa's family. Mthethwa died at a hotel in Paris today. At the time of his death, the 58-year-old was serving as ambassador for about 17 months. French authorities are investigating the circumstances surrounding his death. International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola described Mthethwa's passing as a national loss. His spokesperson, Crispin Piri.
The circumstances of his untimely passing are still under investigation by the French authorities. The government of South Africa extends its deepest and most sincere condolences to the family of the ambassador and to his friends and colleagues during this period of immense grief.
And the United States government is barreling towards its first shutdown in 6 years. This with funding expiring at midnight, barring a breakthrough on deadlock negotiations between Democrats and Republicans. A last-minute meeting at the White House yesterday yielded no progress, with top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer saying afterwards that large differences remained between both sides. His party, in the minority in both chambers of Congress, is seeking to flex its rare leverage over the federal government 8 months into Donald Trump's second presidency that has seen entire government agencies dismantled. The 100-member Senate requires government funding bills to receive 60 votes, 7 more than the Republicans control. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to an overnight low of 12 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria 13 and 26, Vereniging 8 and 24. Munki Ziko Go, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Great show as always, Darop.
Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show as always.
Great show as always. Thanks.
Great show as always.
Great show as always, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful show, Robert. Thank you so much.
It always gives me pleasure to speak to someone who's got such an insight.
I love the introduction.
Hey, what is show Marawa?
I don't know, maybe you are still calling Mr. Mazuputu, or maybe that does not exist.
Sure, Robbie.
Bafana Bafana. I want to talk about Bafana Bafana. I think, for me, good decision by the FIFA. I think, the person who's in charge of all this thing, administration, he should be fired.
Lesotho didn't appeal for the case, so why did that point? They must appeal this case. FIFA takes for granted.
Also, B1 to understand why it's dragged for 6 or 7 months.
They couldn't give me a reason, and I think internally some people are quite embarrassed with this. It's embarrassing for FIFA, and they shouldn't allow this kind of blunder to happen again. Ultimately, the responsibility is SAFA's. Dr. Jordan and Vincent Seca should be asked to account for what they have done.
The boys are under pressure now. I mean, this is really disgusting by the SAFA. It's just a reflection of the incompetence of the leadership as a whole in the country.
Now Feinberg and Gomezulu with the cross kick for Colby!
And they're coming to Springboks, a record-breaking attacking masterclass from Osaka.
Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu, what a player. Even the captain, Siya Kolisi, was full of praise for him.
No, I thought he was amazing. Not just in the way he scored tries and all those kind of. I think the way he controlled the game, control and balance, and I think the guys around him, as coach said, they helped him a lot in making decisions.
Time eaten up.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Well, Coach Rassie Erasmus has done the job as far as this weekend's game is concerned. We'll break it down with the room dividers who are coming up in just a second as well. It is the Tuesday edition of #MSW Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go!
The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
I guess sometimes you just got to let this tune sink in, don't you, hey? It's just a quick reminder that tonight again begins the journey of the UEFA Champions League, and Benfica manager Jose Mourinho has insisted that he will always be a blue. As they return to Stamford Bridge ahead of the Benfica Champions League meeting with Chelsea, the three-time Premier League winner was appointed on September 18 by Lisbon, the Giants, and will lead his new team out tonight for what will be his 8th match in the visiting dugout at the ground that he once upon a time, he called home.
5 pictures in this big room, 3 of them are of you. I know you say that you're not a blue anymore, but will you always inside be a little bit blue?
Of course.
And is it like coming home?
Of course. Of course I will always be a blue. I'm part of their history, and they are part of my history. I help them to become a bigger Chelsea, and they helped me to become a bigger Jose. When I say I'm not a blue, I hope everybody understands it, that I'm speaking about the job that I have to do tomorrow. But in relation to these pictures, there are not many clubs that do this, because in many clubs it looks like there is a fear of what happened in the past, and there is a continuous transformation of pictures. Sometimes it looks like they want to delete people that made history in the clubs. I think this show that Chelsea is really a big club, because big clubs are also about principles. We'll never know. After 25 years, I was expecting to go back to Portugal, to the national team, not to Benfica.
Well, the Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca described Jose Mourinho as a legend ahead of the return to Stamford Bridge of the Portuguese coach who had 2 successful spells at the London club. Now, Maresca held his pre-match news conference in a suite at Stamford Bridge containing pictures of Mourinho lifting the Premier League trophy in 3 different years, which was 2005, 2006, as well as 2015.
It's absolutely a privilege to face Jose tomorrow. Legend for this club, not only for this club, for different clubs. So will be a privilege to face Jose tomorrow. To be honest, I feel already quite like to be in some picture at the training ground with the Club World Cup. So I feel already lucky with that after 1 season. But for sure the target is hopefully one day, not only with the Club World Cup, also with the conference. But for sure the target is one day we can all together enjoy this kind of moment. It's probably a little bit more difficult, and the reason why is because they just played, I think, 3-4 games with Jose. All the games that I start to watch, unfortunately, was with the former manager, and I watched the 3-4 games with Jose. I watched also some games, where Jose was Man United or Spurs or Roma in Italy. But for sure will be a completely different game compared to the Club World Cup game.
Well, Liverpool manager Arne Slot has weighed in on Galatasaray's 5-1 defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt, calling the result misleading and warning his squad not to underestimate the Turkish champions. Now, the 2 sides will meet tonight in the UEFA Champions League group phase. That clash is in Istanbul.
Their loss against Frankfurt. I've watched that game, and for me, they were very, very, very unlucky in that game. The chances they gave away were only small, and it was either the quality of Frankfurt or a little bit of bad luck for Galatasaray that they conceded 5, because if the same game, they play the same game again, they will never, ever, ever concede 5 goals again in that same game.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Former BBC journalist from the African continent itself, Osaso Biwana.
Yes, nice to have Mr. Bayuana back on the show, isn't it, Mr. Marawa?
I did say we will come back. Have you been gloating since the outcome?
I told you 6 months ago this was inevitable, and what happened? When Hugo Broos was made manager of Bafana Bafana, you do know that he started working as Bafana Bafana manager without having his work permit in South Africa because it wasn't processed on time. You remember when you guys had a match and there was no training field because Vincent Seca didn't get one for the team to train on? You now have this blunder of all blunders. The bazooka of all mistakes has been made, and you all are paying heavily for it now.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
All right, so the Room Dividers on Marawa Sports Worldwide is proudly brought to you by FNB, hashtag Grassroots to Greatness on 947, Rise FM, Vuma FM, as well as Sowetan Live. Welcome to it.
Dividing public opinion.
Are they empowering?
And setting the rugby agenda.
Do not forget where your history, South Africa, is. The enemy's desire is to try and erase it.
Welcome. You're with the Room Dividers. They say the future isn't written, but sometimes you can see it coming. A new generation of talent is rising, a name you need to remember. And I hope you can pronounce Sasha Feinberg Ngoma Zulu correctly, because you're going to be saying it a lot over the next few years. Get ready. The future of the game is here. Brought to you by hashtag MSW on 947. Shamazamban.
Yay, Shamazamban. That's how we welcome you to hashtag MSW and the Room Dividers for this week, the 30th of September 2025. And what a weekend to come out of. If you're down in Durban like all of these gentlemen were, I would say 2 of them, but later on we're going to have a 3rd gentleman join us here today because, hey, the more views we get, the better. The more analysis we get, the better. So just a quick warning. Do send us your WhatsApp voice notes, and I know that a lot of you love sending them post a Springbok game and you want to tell us all of your views. Just for today, kindly use the following number: 066 381 8609. 066 381 8609. I'll repeat that a little bit later on though. But use that WhatsApp voice note number. Otherwise, you can call us directly in studio 011 883 8947. But I can tell you, though, that tonight we turn up the heat and divide the room because the Room Dividers are back. On the one side, we got the bruiser. I mean, the man who once wore the green and gold with a great deal of pride. I mean, there's a former SA Under-23 and Springbok flank, Thando Manana. On the other hand, we got the scribe himself, the man with the pen, who has chronicled rugby's greatest battles, independent media's rugby voice, and author of Fireside, the Springbok, a book that you have got to go and get. I have my copy. And since Mike gave it to me, I've been reading every single day, guys. It is part of our rugby heritage and history, so do make a plan to go get it. Mike Greenaway is here. And what a weekend, guys. What a weekend. Springbok fly half Sasha Feinberg Ngoma Zulu. He's only 23 years old. He's rewritten history with that record-shattering 37-point tries. 37 points, 3 tries, 10 kicks out of 11. And guess what? If you remember the great Percy Montgomery, that legendary player, that mark has been there since 2007. So the Boks have now run in 15 tries in the last 2 games. Incredible. But are still searching for that elusive, complete 80-minute performance. I mean, so how much better can they get? And that's why tonight we'll also dive into the bizarre Cheslin Colby own goal. And of course, the big news, the Boks squad was unveiled this afternoon by Coach Rassie Erasmus. So gentlemen, the Room Dividers are here. Good to see both of you. Have you recovered from Durban?
Yeah, good evening, folks. Yeah, absolutely fantastic evening in Durban. I've been fortunate, I've been covering Springbok rugby for 30 years at Kings Park. The only game that I can think of that came close to that atmosphere, Rob and listeners, Tando, was way back in 1998 when it was the Gary Teichmann era, and they came back from 25-7 or something down like that, and it was that they scored all those unanswered points to win that game. James Dalton scored the controversial try.
Yes,
that was the last time I've heard Kings Park go off like that. It was just unbelievable, and I just, there have been great wins at Kings Park, and I just think we need to put context into just how great the Springbok team is, because it was only 8 or 9 years ago that I was at Kings Park and I saw the All Blacks beat the Springboks 57-15. So we're talking about highs and lows, and Springbok rugby right now, folks, treasure it, love it, enjoy it, because it hasn't always been good times, but the good times are here, and they could still be here for a long time to come.
Sure. A beautiful way of opening. And as I said, you were down in Durban. You gave us some great reporting from their hotel in Umhlanga. Another man who was down in Durban as well. Thando Manana, good to see you. You survived, you back. What's the catch moment, though? What's that moment that really captured your imagination being at the Hollywood Beds at Kings Park Stadium?
Rob, good evening. Good evening to everyone. There's just so much that I can talk about the past test match. We talk about what Sasha did, but Sasha played with intent in the first half. At some point, I thought the Springboks are not in the game. He looked as if he was the only one who was urging the teammates to really say, guys, we've got a game on our hand. We've got to win it. There's a rugby championship on the line. And to see the amount of skillful speed that was possessed in the game, the leadership amongst the team, each and everyone, Sia spoke about it. And I think just the little magician, Rob, 37 points, scored 3 tries. That's a hat-trick of tries. And the moment that I take from the game was the Argentinian inside their 22 with the long box kick. And they thought it's going to be a ping-pong affair. How he identified the space near side touch line, saw there was no one there, kicked and chased, had even time to stop Kenan Moody from picking it up, saying, I want to finish it off and score the try. That for me was a moment of the game. Because that moment, Rob, just tells you how of a complete player he is. It just also tells you how as a fly half, he was able to scan in the split seconds that he had to identify space. And that's what Springbok rugby has been missing all along. We were so obsessed with kicking in the corners and just hoping for a 50-22. But now we didn't kick for a 50-22. He spotted, he kicked exceptionally well. So for me...
And I thought the Ches and Colby catch and, obviously kick from Sasha himself was going to be the match beater. But you talk about something absolutely spot on there, Manana, just to split that time, because I know, Mike, you wanted to add on what Thando's saying, because, you had the numbers, you had the figures in terms of how many players he got through and how many meters he covered.
Yeah. So guys, all the statistics are there. He carried something like 17 times. He beat 13 defenders. Carrying 17 times and you beat 13 defenders. The hit rate there is like staggering. 182 meters made with the ball in hand. And we all know what was on the screen, and we saw, the fantastic stuff he physically did. But I just want to bring in something that I thought was possibly even made more of a statement than what he did with ball in hand. And that is what he did with his brain, with his self-confidence. Because, look, we know this guy has got speed, he's got agility, he's got athleticism, he has got a skill set to die for. 4 seconds before half-time, and this is after the try that you described, the Springboks go down to a soft try. He goes to the referee and he says, no, excuse me, Mr. Ref, there's still 4 seconds left on the clock. We want those 4 seconds. We want to play. And The ref says, okay, 100% right. And if Sasha hadn't gone to him and said, there's still 4 seconds left on the clock, boss, the ref would have blown it for half time. Sasha says, I want that 4 seconds. He takes that 4 seconds and he creates a try. The Springboks go into half time leading.
Sure. All right. I want to pick up on that magic, though, because, guys, you know, so many people have spoken about him. Rassi has spoken about him. The captain, Siya Kolisi, has spoken about him. I mean, the entire nation is talking about him right now. We look at the stats, the figures. We look at what it is that he can do and what he will potentially do. That moment of the 4 seconds is, again, showing great signs of a future leader, a future captain, because believe you me, I think it brought back that clip that everybody has been swinging around and, going viral of him as a young boy at Bishops and so on. And they've played it again and again. If he had that confidence as a schoolboy, how much more now when he's a grown man?
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Imagine your dish, your passion, your moment on the MasterChef stage. Now it's possible because MasterChef South Africa has moved to ETV and entries are open. It's more than just a show. It's your chance to change your life. Visit masterchefsa.tv today and enter now. MasterChef South Africa, now on ETV, where South Africa's next MasterChef is waiting to be discovered.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 2 litre Spar or sunflower oil for $69.99 with Spar Rewards, or 3 kg Sunlight 5-in-1 washing powder for $79.99. Save 25 Rand with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Competition ends 7 October. Price is valid 23 September to 7 October 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
All cars are designed to move. A Mazda is crafted to move you. Every line, every detail, form in motion, beauty with purpose. So that when you drive, you connect. Car and driver become one. One rhythm. Builds, holds, breaks free. The feeling will find you. Mazda. Wonder awaits.
Every night the tension builds. Will they take the deal or risk it all? Stay locked to Deal or No Deal. Weeknights at 6:30 p.m. on SABC2. Life-changing prizes are just one choice away. Fortune favors the bold. Will you deal? Brought to you by LottoStar.
LottoStar is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong. We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision people are saying ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
A voice artist reading an ad about the Rocco Mamas triple treat. Normal. A smooth R&B artist singing about it. Not normal.
Yeah. A new school smash burger and fries. Fried chicken tenders on the side. Classic waffle and an ice cream. All for just $149, girl.
Rocco Mamas. We're not normal.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Someone at the national team must take responsibility of what happened. We can't just keep quiet, Rob. It means somebody didn't do his job.
Nick said, I believe, is on the line as we speak right now. What was your immediate reaction?
A blunder was made and we have been punished for it. I don't think we can have any defense, to be honest. We can talk about teams not protesting, etc. But at the end of the day, Tebogo was not eligible to play in that fixture, and he did. And that's on SAFA. I honestly believe that Nigeria will win their next 2 games, take them to 17 points. I think Benin obviously will get maximum 3 out of that, so also 7. I think the maximum they can get is 17 points. And that'll leave us needing to get 4. A draw and a win.
Danny Jordan. Vincent Sekat.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Back on your radio by popular demand. It's the infamous Room Dividers with Robert Marawa, Dando Manana, and Ashwin Willemse. Tuesdays on Hashtag MSW on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
All right, it is hashtag MSW as we celebrate the power of sport and the pride of our nation. FNB proudly backs the Springboks, driving transformation in the South African rugby from grassroots to greatness, from players and coaches to schools and clubs. FNB is inspiring future generations in green and gold. As a proud partner of the Springboks, FNB help changes everything.
No, I thought it was amazing. Not just in the way he scored tries and all those kind of. I think the way he controlled the game, control and balance, and I think the guys around him, as coach said, they helped him a lot in making decisions. But I think when we click as a team, every single player, within our system is able to show who they are, and that's what the coaches always speak to us about. They pick us for a certain reason. We all have a point of difference, and one of his is running with the ball. But he didn't just run as well, and other players have to be in positions for him to get in the places that he got to. And I thought he kept his head cool, and he put us in the right places. And he was really amazing today. He took charge, he took leadership as we wanted him to. And I thought that was really what stood out for me today. All the guys, we believe in our team in shared leadership. There's not one leader who runs everything. Everybody plays their role. And I saw so many different people who came out of the shells today when the chips were down or when we made a mistake. It wasn't just one voice changing something. And also guys who are experienced were able to listen to guys who have less than a double number of caps. And that's what makes our team special. And that's what he's tried to make sure in this group. From the first day he made me captain, to make sure everybody was in charge, so I didn't have to take all the burden and all the pressure. And you're seeing younger guys with one cap who are able to take charge and tell us. We keep quiet and we listen to them. So that was powerful today. And I thought, Sasha was really amazing, and hopefully we can continue next week.
All right, we'll hear what Rasmus had to say about Sasha Vanberg and Ngomezulu. In fact, Ngobeni has slipped in, not Ngomezulu, but let's chat and welcome Vata Ngobeni, who is ENCA sports editor, who joins me here in studio. No stranger to the Room Dividers, an added voice because he was also there down in Durban, witnessed all of this firsthand. Vata, good to finally see you, man. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Rob. Evening to the listeners. To Mike, Clanman, and to Tando.
All familiar people. Yeah, hey. It's all, you know what, when you look at Springbok rugby now, and I think Mike gave us a bit of a shout out earlier on to South Africans to say, enjoy the Springboks now. It might not last for the longest time, but it's here. It's going. We're rolling on to potentially World Cup number 3 back to back to back. Hopefully we do get there. What you witnessed in Durban meant what to you, Vata?
It was special, Rob. I think, what stands out to me was hearing the crowd sing Masambe Nono. And it started off in the corner by where the swimming pool is, and that was without any music. And then when they put on the music, it went on for 3 minutes, and everyone in the stadium got up and started singing. And Mike will tell you, and Tando, never in our lifetime did we ever think we'd hear a vernacular song being sung that loud at a Springbok Test match.
By everyone.
By everyone. Everyone. And to see the changing face of South African rugby over the years, especially since Rassie has taken over, has been something quite emotional. I think, Rob, we've sat here many times over the years, even in other places, and we've lamented how rugby just doesn't want to change. But when you look at it's black, white, Indian colored, the women that are just attending rugby.
With their kids.
With their kids. I mean, Cindy Boy got such a wonderful, ovation from the crowd as she did a victory, a lap of honor.
Yeah.
And no one would have known about Nelson Sopoy a few months ago. But because of the heroics at the Rugby World Cup, and everyone embracing who we are, I think it speaks volumes of the strides this team has made under Rassie and Siyakulis. So for me, that what stood out on Saturday. And also those, Mr. Ref, we still have 4 seconds to play. I think we have not seen the best of SFM. I think the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that all of you are saying we haven't seen the best of him. He has been bubbling under. In fact, maybe that might be an insult because I think he's bubbled all the way to the top from the beginning, and that's because of that reassuredness that he does have. If we're to, again, nitpick, it's a team performance, but it's very rare, especially when you break a record, and it's the first time ever for anybody who's worn a Springbok jersey to amass 37 points in a test match. So we can't take that away. We're not having little fireside conversations here on a national platform. We're singing praises to somebody who was going to reshape. And I was listening to international commentary, and they were talking about him in the same excited manner as we are. And they're claiming him to say he'll change the face of world rugby. So when you transcend that into world rugby, Mike, what does that mean?
Look, I just want to look. Sasha is symptomatic of a fantastic thing that is happening in South African rugby. And now, you'll forgive me if I delve a little bit into Greek mythology.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're talking about here is, look, Rassie, for some time, has been interchanging players, has been making sure everyone gets game time. We know all of this. And what is happening is that the competition amongst the players is just producing guys that are just stepping up ahead of someone else just a little bit more. Let me give you an example. So in Greek mythology, there was a monster called the Hydra, which was this monstrous serpent that came out of the sea, and the Greek warriors went to kill it, and they'd chop off a head, and another 2 would appear. And then a warrior would chop off another couple, and another couple of heads would appear. And that's what's happening in Springbok rugby, if you'll forgive me delving back into Greek mythology there, but that's what's happening. Look, so we're talking about 2023, Andre Pollard was God in South African rugby, okay? Ice-cold kicking, he nails 3 quarterfinal, semi-final, final, he nails it. 2 years later, he can't, I'm not saying he can't make the team, but he's not preferred in the Springbok 23. They're playing against Argentina on Saturday in London. And my understanding that Andre was going to play this game. That was, Rassie's got he premeditates his selections, and Andre was going to play at Twickenham, but now he can't, because there are guys popping up all the time, like that monster. You chop off their heads, another 2 appear, and that's how healthy Springbok rugby is, where we've just got players coming through all the time. It's relentless, and the winner is the Springbok team as a bunch. I mean, we saw Andre. Like I said, 2 years ago, he could do no wrong. Now he's sitting in the stands and he's just clapping and smiling and saying, "Go, Sasha." So that's how healthy Springbok rugby is.
Sure. I mean, that's a fresh reminder. I mean, we can take Greek mythology any day to describe rugby, but it is, I mean, you've nailed it as far as that is concerned. We bring it forward to, let's say, pre the announcement this afternoon, because that's exactly where we were. We were thinking, maybe Damien, because of the niggle that he had, he might have to sit that one out, and then maybe Sasha will have to move from 10 to 15 and then bring Pollard onto the bench. So those are all the conversations that were going on, Tando. Now we look ahead. We can include the 4 changes that have been made by Rassie this afternoon. But if you had to look at what we have going ahead now, playing against the same team at Twickenham, big platform again, what needs to change given what has changed?
Rob, I'll say one thing. As South Africans, we miss a front rower of Kitsi, Bongi, Malherbe. Probably the best front rower of our time in a Bok jersey. But then I fast forward to this coming Saturday. Ox is back. Marks hasn't been hitting where we normally know of him. Maybe that's because he's not really using starting games, but he's been doing that. But we haven't seen the real Marks. But, I mean, he pushed 70 minutes this weekend, something that we've not seen. So I'm a bit worried, but I'm happy that Bongi is on the bench for this week because it's not something that we're used to. And then Thomas du Toit, Rassie has so much trust in Thomas du Toit that I feel our best front rower is an Ox, currently a Max, and a Wilco. The only thing that coaches they get wrong with Wilco is they tend to overplay him and he becomes pop in the second half because you've either overstayed him or left him for far too long. I think one has to just find that he's given you everything out of the tank. It's time to get him off, and I would bring in a Thomas du Toit. For me, he's not that effective like I would want a Wilco to be. It's good for him to come towards the end, but the game just become also too fast that you don't really get the effectiveness that you would want from a tight head. 2, Rob, we're sitting with a Ruan Nortje who's grabbed that number 5 jersey and made it his own. If we were to start in June against an Italian side, your number 5 lock would have been either Arges Neyman or Eloy Diaga. Now, all of a sudden, they're fighting all of them for a number 4 jersey because the man with the V8 engine or a V12 has made it his own. We go to the loose forwards. We were crying about Steven Roos. Even Roos. That he should be in the Springbok setup as a number 8. We're thin. Everyone was saying that, we're thin. Rassie kept on with the Wiese, Jasper Wiese, watching from the sidelines since that test match in PE where he got suspended. When he came on against the All Blacks and he bullied Savia, I couldn't believe it. He bullied the All Blacks as if they were playing against a 2-tier team. And then he did the same in Durban. And I kept on asking, why do the Argentinians kick that far back and give this man ammunition to come back at them? So in terms of forward that we have, Rob, I would like to see that front rower of Ox, Marx, Wilco. Because we've got to be dominant. We were dominant with Kitsi, we were dominant with Malherbe, we were dominant with Bongi. So that for us is something that I think for us we have to work on. I think the loose forwards, they pick themselves. I think Peter Steff is just, you've just got to make a statue of him. I think he's been superb for us since 2023 in that World Cup where he really showed that he's a menace to society, the rugby society. But also one thing that now we know is the current back line, untouched, unchanged, is going to war. But they've added another firepower in Grant Williams. So now we get to see the real back line. Ethan Hooker, 22. Hold on, Rob. Hold on. Rob, you've okay.
Wait, we're going for a break. Wait. You see, you can't bring this.
No, but I'm in my zone. I'm in my element. Yeah.
Your zone has to be within time, sir. You played rugby once. You couldn't play for 98 minutes. There was your zone.
But Sasha was able to ask for the 4 seconds.
You don't have 4 seconds right now. You've got nothing. You've got 4.5 seconds to.
Oh wow.
To keep quiet. Vata, let me bring you in here. Because in bringing in a Grant Williams, there's also a Jesse Creel who comes in as part of the changes that are made. So he's told us who he would love in the pack.
Yeah.
You agree with that? And what sort of extra bit of finesse does a Grant Williams and a Jesse Creel bring?
I think Grant Williams showed in Wellington what he's made of. And the one thing is that he can play on the wing as well.
Yeah.
And he's going to speed up the game when he gets on. And that is the kind of rugby that a Sasha will thrive under, a Manili Bok will thrive under, because they thrive of quick ball. But you see Cheslin is waiting on the wings, Damien Willemse, Kenan Moody. So I think he's chosen well. I worry about Jesse. I think he's one of those heads that got chopped, and the other heads reared themselves. And he's going to have to really, really, pull a rabbit out of the hat. He's going to have to really play out of his socks.
What is he doing wrong?
Nothing, Rob. Is that everyone else is doing everything better than him.
So he's got the name, he's got the reputation. It's just a case of how does he fit in? Like you were saying, Andre Pollard is in the grandstand cheering the guys on. Is it the same with Jesse?
It just changes like that with this team that is so dynamic at the moment. So 4 or 5 matches ago, Jesse Creel was the captain of the team. And he didn't play particularly badly. And one of the games, I think it must have been after when he got changed. Oh yeah, it must have been the Ellis Park game. He didn't play particularly badly, but the plan was to give someone else a go, and that was Kanan. Kanan puts his hand up, and Jesse's suddenly on the outer, and that's how quickly it changes in the Springbok team. When you have such a high level of competition, we're talking about super athletes, where they're pushing each other, not just in games, but in practices. And one guy steps back, another guy comes in, he takes his chance, it changes so quickly.
And it's no greater super athlete than Jesse Kriel, because he's maintained himself, his physique, his body like nobody else can. But again, we're not superhuman, we are human.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Get money fit with the Nedbank My Goals Plus account and enjoy up to 2% unlimited cashback. Plus, get up to 30% off on flights, up to 10% off on Apple and Samsung devices, as well as 50% off at new Metro, plus much more. So get your money off the bench. Switch to Nedbank today on the Money app. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. Greenbacks membership included.
Get ready for the burger that bites back. Introducing the Ham Burner. Double the beef, triple the trouble, stacked with heartburn, dripping with indigestion, and topped off with a fiery hit of excess acid. Luckily, there's once a day A Vogel Multiforce, packed with alkaline minerals and ISCH22 that balance excess stomach acid. Because your food shouldn't bite back. Multiforce, your once-a-day force against excess acidity.
Get more amazing deals this Big Deal Wednesday at Food Lovers Market. Buy a pineapple, a pawpaw pre-pack, a 125-gram blueberry punnet, and a 700-gram banana thrift pack, all for just 59 Rand per combo. And save big on delicious pork braai chops at only 59.99 per kilo. Valid this Wednesday only at all inland Food Lovers Market stores. It's in the experience.
Hey, Laura.
The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the two-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za in association with 947.
The all-new Chery Tiggo 7 Super Hybrid brings you the ultimate driving experience with a powerful 1.5-liter turbo engine and 18.3 kilowatt-hour battery for a combined range of up to 1,200 kilometers. You get the efficiency to go further quietly. Get into a Chery Tiggo 7 CSH from $599,900. Book your test drive at chery.co.za. More power to you, Chery.
Could I courier this toy carrot that my son glued his baby teeth onto?
For sure. We're your guy. How about a strip of slightly used duct tape? Yeah, we're your guy.
And this spoiler for my quantum.
Chief, we're your guy. With over 4,000 fast and flexible ways of couriering your parcel, locally and internationally, whatever you need couriered, we're your guy. The Courier Guy. Visit thecourierguy.co.za.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
We are at fault here and we dropped the ball very, very hard. Now, Robert, it's back to the old thing with Bafana Bafana. We have to pull out calculators and do algebra and wishy that this one does that. It's so disappointing and frustrating. But
Osaso Biwana.
No one has been held responsible for it, despite the fact that the person who is directly responsible, I've identified 3 mistakes, and I'm sure there may be more I don't even know of. So I'm still asking the question again. Why is it that the South African sporting media have not turned their sights on this man before now? Although a lot of people in South Africa won't say it, but I will. And the truth is, there is a political association between your Bafana Bafana team manager and Danny Jordan that makes it very difficult for him to get rid of him. He knows things about the SAFA president that can put him in even more trouble than he is now.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
The Room Dividers. Zatuma manje.
Catch Room Dividers on Marawa Sports worldwide.
Tando Manana, Mike Greenaway.
Every Tuesday at 6:20 p.m. on 947.
This game will always humble you.
Boomer FM.
What I'm certain we're going to see now is that the rotation is over.
And Rise FM.
They say the future isn't written, but sometimes you can see it coming. A new generation of talent is rising. A name you need to remember. And I hope you can pronounce Sasha Feinberg Ngoma Zulu correctly, because you're going to be saying it a lot over the next few years. Get ready. The future of the game is here. Brought to you by Hashtag MSW on 947. Shamazamban.
Impi. Bonanzi mpieza. Bobani benga tinta mapubezi. Wemame. Bano ngatintu Sasha Mgomezulu. Chisa ni moto, chisa lobu.
MP. Dividing public opinion.
Bonanzi mpieza.
Are they empowering?
Bobani benga tinta mapubezi.
And setting the rugby agenda.
Do not forget where your history South Africa is.
Bonanzi mpieza.
The enemy's desire is to try and erase it.
Welcome. You're with the Room Dividers.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the MSW shareholders and also to the Room Dividers. I just want to say that the game that we watched with the Springboks, I'm so impressed. Our offloads, we were never that good of a team when it comes to offload. You know, the ball moves and you just watch in awe because you're like, hey, is this really us that are moving the ball so much? And it really helps because it adds a different layer and a different dynamic to our game, because our game is so dynamic now. It's like we've moved away from that typical Springbok lineup where you just know, okay, this is the move that they're gonna do, and yeah, because you can just tell with what the Argentinian teams tried in the first half, but they got tired the second half because I think our transitional plays are just something remarkable, and it's really impressive to see this type of style and this type of game and how it works well so much with all the players. We are going far. We are going far.
Look, there's no doubt the impact Cam had last night, but Sasha Feinberg Mamazulu from South Africa was outstanding. And he showed glimpses before he went off injured in Wellington, and he is the future. And Tony Brown told me halfway through Super Rugby, go and look at some of the premiership stuff that he's doing and the way that he's playing. He is a superstar in the making. He's going to take their team to a level and play away. Some of the things he did last night overnight, and this is to Argentina, one of the best teams in the competition, it wasn't just about goal kicking. His footwork, his creativity, his vision, his finishing. He scored 37 points in this game, Beaver. 37 points in the most pivotal position in the game. He can play 12, 10. All of a sudden, I think they've opened the door. Some of this accuracy and work was world class. To me, as great as I think Cam Roygaard's going to be, I think Sasha moves the needle for Springbok Rugby.
Well, I think he moves as far as where they've taken it. And where they've been is always this great forward pack, and he's now going to have the luxury, Millsy, of having that great forward pack, but then having the licence, because he's proven that he's allowed to be the director, but also play with ambition. And some of that stuff, he's got the running, but his running and kicking options, he can do it all.
He's not for over the years, you've had your traditional sort of first fives coming out of South Africa where they're very composed, they kick the corners, they kick, high balls. He brings a different element because he's so aggressive and explosive off the mark in that position, and he can take the line on, score tries, has the ability to kick. His execution is on point too. So he brings a different threat. He is going to be an absolute superstar.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute superstar. Even the likes of Jeff Wilson singing his praises, as we are right here with the Room Dividers on hashtag MSW. If you want to send us any WhatsApp voice note, 066 381 8609, 066 381 8609. Otherwise, give us a call directly in studio, 011 888 947. Mike Greenaway is here. Vatangobeni is here. Tando Manana are all here, and they're going to be fighting for the microphone in the last 9 minutes of the show. I love it. All right, guys. So we've been talking about the squad selection, team selection for the weekend. You wanted to bring on the issue of what happens on the bench, the bench split, and so on. What's been adopted now? Let's open it up.
Look, I think for so long we had the Springbok bench was dominated by forwards. So it was 6-2, 7-1, and it was all about what was best for the Springboks at that time. It was the box kicking, it was the forward domination. That was how we ground out wins, and it was even how we won 2 World Cups. But now the bench split now, we've now got 3 backs, and it's every single game now for about 4 games now. And that is because it's reflecting how the Springbok game has evolved. So now you've got the likes of Sasha at 10. You've got Marnie at 10, whoever. How we're playing now with Tony Ball, how we are attacking, you want more backs on the field. You don't want 14 of your 15 players on the field to be forwards. You now want more backs on the play, because that is the direction in which Rassie is taking the Springboks with Tony Brown. You don't want to be left short of backs. You want to have more backs on the field, and that is what we're seeing now.
Manana, bring in your opinion here, because I think it's something that we were chatting about very briefly off air. What's your take?
Rob, one player I'm happy for is Bongi Mbonambi. He's back. He's got another opportunity to make it count. That's what rugby is about. He's been given that opportunity to be back. When I look at the importance of the bench, Rob, I look back to the Wellington Test match. We had in the first half those 3 big injuries. Had we gone for the 6-2 for the 7-1, wouldn't have won that Test match. So the 5-3 is something that management discusses, and we're using it now to our strength. It makes no sense for us to have all these top players and only sit with Grant Williams as the first and only backline player on the bench, because he can play scrum half, he can be at wing, and we can maneuver people around. What is now is we are more direct, intent, and we're going for what is ours. I think I don't want to be also ahead of myself, Rob, but we want to defend the rugby champs. After all, we are the defending champions. That's what defending champions do. So if you see the team selection now, Rassie hasn't moved the pivotal position. He's only just made 1 or 2 adjustments in his starting 15 and also on the bench. The 5-3 is there for a reason. World rugby and the game itself has always required that you have your front rower and you have your lock and the loose forward and the back, because anything can happen. So for me, I'm quite happy with how we've sort of identified, because we're playing to our strength. Springboks are no longer playing to a different strength. We're playing to this strength because of the personnel. Mike spoke about what Rassie would have played Pollard, but imagine now putting Pollard with that team. It's oil and water. So what you do is you keep with the same selection, but then you play to your strength, and the bench must complement that. So that's what it's about now, is that we want to complement. And also, guys, we've got to remember, December 2025, or after our last Test match, it's the Rugby World Cup draw.
Yep.
We need to be number 1 so that we don't fall into the group of death. Where is Australia? Where is Argentina? They're lying 7th, 8th. Now, 7th, 8th could be in one of our pots.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we've got big eyes. So there's so much to play for. We're playing in England, it's fine. But what is important is we've got to get the win. How dirty, how easy, and also how best we play. The win is so important for us, because we want to make sure, like you said, Rob, we want a hat-trick of I'm going to end it there on my own without you stopping me. Thank you.
Rob, we need to be wary of Argentina. And I think a lot of people are getting carried away about how the Springboks are playing and so on. People forget Argentina in this competition. Play 1, lose, win. Lose, win. Now they've lost to the Boks. Are they going to keep to that pattern of theirs? And be careful of a wounded Argentinian team. I flew back with Felipe Conteboni from Durban. I sat next to him.
Yeah.
He was still seething on Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
He was angry. And you could see the players as well. They were disappointed in themselves. And they are proud people. And they're going to come out firing in London at Twickenham. And the Springboks must be careful not to get taken up by their own hype. Yeah. Because we've seen how the Springboks don't do well at times when they're on the front foot and they're the favourites and so on. I think they must be ready for a test match and a proper game of rugby, because those Los Pumas, we saw them against the All Blacks. They stunned them.
They can switch it up though, which is great. One thing that Manana spoke about as well was Bongi Mbonambi coming back into the mix. One of the things that Mike Greenaway wrote in his article was that on Saturday there were basically 3 33-year-olds that were there. Dutoy, Eben, Allende. So Bongi kind of fits into that, but Mike firmly believes that those three would make their way through when they're 35 years old to Australia in 2027 for the World Cup. Can we say the same of Bongi?
We can, Rob. We can. You just have to look at your captain. How old is your captain? And he's probably playing the best rugby of his life. Yeah. And without him in that team, you can actually feel that there is no leadership. Not to say that other guys are not leaders, but Siya Kolisi in a Springbok team, it's a different kind of team. It's almost an unbeatable side. And I think with Bongi Mbonambi there, back in that team, it strengthens, first of all, the front row. It strengthens the leadership. But I think it brings about a lot of experience and calmness that at times has been needed in a lot of the first halves of recent test matches. And you have him there in that second half, we call him Kinyi Chim, someone who's solid at gym. And I mean, he's solid as a rock.
Yeah.
And I go back to France, the win here against France.
Sia is 34 years. And Vata is giving all the flowers to Sia at 34 years of age, Rob.
Deservedly so. So remember all the drama about the injury that he had pre-World Cup, going to Switzerland, going to get all the best treatment and so on. So we got to always reflect back on some of those realities. Yes, he still goes on, even at training is heavily strapped. But those are precautionary measures that they're taking. But the man himself, when fit, when he's got the energy, he will take 10,001 selfies with the fans after the game. And that's what he says to them, thank you very much for. And that's what we want to see out of every Bok. There are future leaders in that team. And I think Sasha's one of them that can be spoken about maybe post the World Cup, etc. But I just think there's a good dynamic here. Are we looking at massive margins here, guys? It's a crazy thing to ask. At Twickenham, how close are the margins going to be?
Right. Well, what makes me think South Africa, why the Springboks are going to win is last week they spoke about it being a semi-final. This week, Rassie, the first thing he said when he announced his team, this is a final. Now, the Springboks tend to have a little bit of a hiccup now and again when the pressure's off, but when they switch on to final mode, there's no team in the world that can live with them. We've seen that in the last World Cup. They've grown more since then. Semi-final last week in Durban, they put 63 points on, 67 points on the board. They're treating this as a final, they'll win it because they know finals rugby.
Manana? A quick one, sir.
Rob, the Boks must continue what they've been doing. The momentum is with us. Everything says us. And we've just got to go and get the win. Remember, Springboks All Blacks at Twickenham, what happened there? We're never given that game just before the Rugby World Cup. And we actually gave the All Blacks a biggest hiding. So for me, Rob, is a win or nothing. I think if we don't win on Saturday, then the campaign was a total failure. If we win, we look forward to the next 5 tests that are coming up, and we then wait for the draw of the Rugby World Cup. So for me, I'm quite happy.
Let me give it to a TV man who understands the issue of time. Vata, you have the final word.
I say Springboks will win. If they don't, Rob, they're missing an opportunity of setting a marker for the end of year tour. Ultimately, we look at that World Cup draw, and I think Rassie is looking at it and saying to himself, I win the Rugby Championship, it's the last one.
Yeah.
Back to back for the first time ever for the Springboks. And you go into that your autumn series. Ireland and France are going to be shaking in their boots.
Well, they should be already, guys. You can tune in again next week, Thursday, for the warm-up to the weekend. But we love Tuesdays for the Room Dividers.
What's your thoughts? Why are you always asking our thoughts?
Worldwide. Brought to you by F&B. Hashtag grassroots to greatness on 947 Rise FM, Vuma FM, and Sowetan Live. Well, pardon that voice in the background. Do you want to say something, sir?
Good night.
It's the first time you say something very disciplined. All right, for disciplined room dividers, tune in again next week, Tuesday. Otherwise, tune in again tomorrow for Marawa Sports Worldwide, probably brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action.
Let the game begin.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. Hashtag MSW. Live now on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. At the same time. Hashtag MSW.